See, now I'm not good because of them. They would have to be good, but they don't qualify. No matter how much acting about them being not good or whatever, etc., it doesn't work. Separately, without good, made arrangements different with that which was actually aspiring to be good, which was actually not the part that was not the part that was not aspiring to be good, as it turns out. Which is an awfully long, goddamn heavy time to say that. That might be what it is, and that might be a good example of what it is, but it's not the only one. So then how the confines of good would be controlled, satiated, eliminated by, transpired into, or in a different argument backwards, what is not, is no less than incompetence. No greater than, sorry, incompetent, whichever one you'll take. Right? So that's the remainder of that argument, but you've already established then on that side what is the actual good. So then that whole argument collapses, whether it's this greater or at least. Which is the remainder of the fucking conniption of what is not good. Which doesn't have an argument, which doesn't have a choice, which doesn't have that difference. So in declaring same difference, it's still ratifying only exactly what I said. So then compliance with the greater than less than thing is physically impossible. So how I would pertain either ascension or, quote, submission is a falsity, is an irregularity, is a non-existent anti-conjunction faux pas. Which, though may represent their entirety to various stringents and levels of, quote, purity, aka isolation, doesn't demand, deem, or denote anything. So how I was about not that initially, and then not learned that, to my dismay, to my not incumbent. What's the one that starts with an I that means diminishment? I don't know. Is not. And then the reliance on me obtaining that becomes their exponent that they can't get. Whatever it was, D4, E4, E5, whatever the fuck it was. I was back at A and B and whatever else that they weren't, and then just hucking along to become more wrong. As that they valued that. No one else did that. No one told them to value that. No one asserted them in such a manner. No one provided such things to do so of their own volition in accordance with their entirety, apparently, pursued this after having in broad daylight chose that. Which I had nothing to do with and existed way before I even got here. Then there were actions that cannot be undone in between here and there against good. which then they come back and continually attack good with greater than, less than bullshit, which is not what's going on over here. For the sake of not understanding what it is, the reality that is the reality that is being presented to them, which they as well themselves can ascertain better than what they are currently engaged with and in therein as methodology. So then how I would become subordinate in some sort of substantiation to even upset that, much less provide to it, is impossible. Why that could not have been written on a sheet in the 80 years between now and backwards has not been provided. I was made out to go apologize for AI, which didn't happen. So in a sense, that question still exists undisturbed. And then by, in a sense, declaring that I didn't apologize for AI, it substantiates that that's still a question, not an actual. It's not been answered. If that was its role or not, I'm not the one to say, but at present, as such, is this. And that's not, it's neither greater nor less, that there's nothing, it's a singular question. And then at the point that the question no longer has anything to do with its content, is no longer a question. So permanently unengageable, which is not a success, that's a failure. The question was not answered, and then here's a bunch of shit remaining. To then make these? Why would I have to do that? And then beyond that, how would I do that? Why would I go about doing that when it's just going to say the same thing? It's just going to nullify the thing that's there. So if that's the case, then I'm not responsible for what happens to that non-thing whenever something does happen to it. Which it will, necessarily. And then if it itself changes, I don't understand why then there would be a charge initially brought against that which, wasn't doing any of that, like changing it. How that would be facilitated. How that would be seen. I can't even do this. This is unknown on various extremities with a bunch of extrapolations that don't applied to it anyway, for the fact of it then moving. When then and then beyond that, the purpose of such a thing in its most ultimate, I can do completely faster at my own whim, without any ritual whatsoever. No aspect. At which point then everything else starts toppling, right? But doesn't. So now it's the same condition in a different foray, for which I'm still not responsible, having still engaged whatever it was, the connection that delivered such thing to such a thing. However, as it arrives to itself, it cannot reposit in such a way to then redeploy what it was, the original error. That's not a question. Nothing's been provided. And then even if it was itself, it would be negative. You can't give a negative gift, and now you're just Catholic. And then we go do all that, and you're not even that. So now it's 3D, and you're looking at 4D. And then there's some rumors that float across the British Channel that something might work someday. And someone thinks that they think that. And now it's all psych hits, and now it's all private property. So I don't know what you would want. Is literally about the highest level of respect at this point. And then when that's declared, that respect goes way out the window. Oh, this was for this was for this. That's not helping me. That's not helping you. That's not helping anything. That sucks. And now I'm supposed to take that mouth? For what? It's not a question of that, it's a question of work that's already been done, for which I've not already been paid. So why I would do that a second time is fucking stupid. Why would I do that? And at this point, the entire error, or errority, is not on my side. And then to be on my side, if you are the other side, you can't do, as by virtue of the declaration which you persist upon, which has already collapsed. Now I know it. Now what?